Welcome back. Oops. I didn't set up my mic before I went live. What a moron I am. Anyway, welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I read a lot of my comments and I seem to get a lot of criticism. And people tell me that I'm just taking advantage of this temporary bear market to grow my channel. And before you know it, when the inevitable bull market comes back, because we're always in a bull market apparently, I'm going to look like a total idiot because all of the stocks that me, Kevin, is talking about and all the stocks that Jeremy talks about, all of these stocks are just going to massively moon and they're going to massively outperform the index. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something. I think we're in for some dark times ahead of us. And this whole theory that I'm just going to look like an idiot in the next couple of years because, well, stocks are going down temporarily, but they always go back up. I think the United States is going to get its cheeks clapped over the next decade. And I'm going to show you some statistics here. I'm even going to pull in some new stuff that I haven't talked about before about why I'm actually extremely bearish about the U.S. economy in the near term. I mean, at some point, I think humans usually solve a lot of problems and we progress and get better over time. But over the next couple of years, I think the United States is in a lot of trouble. So all you people praying that strongman's going to look stupid because, well, we're always in a bull market and stocks will eventually go back up and strongman will go away and disappear. I'm not going anywhere. Number one, index funds apply to any freaking market, okay? You don't have to be in a bull market or a bear market to buy index funds. They always freaking work. The whole point of an index fund is that you match the performance of the market. And guess what? In bull markets, index funds do well too. That's right. But in bear markets, they don't get freaking annihilated as badly as some of the clown stock that these total freaking losers are pumping on you. So let me go make you very depressed about the future of the United States in the near term. Okay? First thing, make sure I'm sharing. First thing, the Buffett indicator. Now, I've shown this a couple times. All they do is they take the total market value, the market cap of the U.S. stock market, divided by U.S. GDP. Now, if you look, as of right now, the market cap to GDP ratio is $169 or 169%, which means that stocks are very, very overpriced. Now, you look at the historical trend line, it's well below the 169%, well below that. And honestly, in my opinion, it should probably approximate 100%. If you see before the 2000s, the market cap to GDP of the market cap to GDP ratio was well below 100%. And then only recently have we had this explosion in the U.S. stock market. I think the U.S. stock market is a massive bubble. It's 60% of the world's market capitalization and only has 25% of the world's GDP. That makes no freaking sense to me. Now, there could be reasons why that is, but that is a massive, massive discrepancy. Okay? Now, let's move on a little bit and let's talk about GDP projections. Now, everybody thinks America is the greatest country in the world, which I agree, it probably is. I'm an American. I like my country. I'm proud to be an American. And I served in the military, unlike a lot of you freaking losers. Oh, you're just a Chinese communist fan. Yeah, okay. Did you ever deploy to Afghanistan? I didn't think so. Maybe some of you did. So if we look at this chart right here, real gross domestic product growth rate in the United States from 2016 to 2026. So in this chart, they are projecting how fast the United States is going to grow. Now, we had a drop in GDP during 2020 for obvious reasons. And then we had kind of a compensatory spike in GDP once the economy opened and there was money flooding the market and people were spending and coming out of lockdowns. And apparently, U.S. GDP is going to grow at 5.2% in 2022. We'll see about that one. I think we're about to enter a recession. And if you go look out in the future, U.S. GDP, our real GDP growth, is going to grow at approximately 1 to 2%. So you mean to tell me that our GDP is going to continue to grow at 2%, going perpetually into the future, maybe even lower, and yet somehow our stock market is going to continue to grow at 10, 12, 15%. No, something's got to give. And I think what has to give is the valuation of the U.S. stock market. So for all you clowns praying that, oh, well, this bear market's temporary and eventually the Fed's going to cut rates and stocks are going to go to the moon again, Where does it end? I mean, how can your economy grow so slowly and yet your stock market just grows massively? At some point in the future, the US stock market is going to be the entire global stock market if this freaking trend continues, or a massive portion of it. It's a joke. There's no way. Now, a lot of people are fully invested in US stocks. Now, if you want to mostly have US stocks, most of the US stocks, you would invest in VOO. That's the S&P 500. It leaves out some of the smaller companies in the United States. Look at the top 10 holdings. 29% of the S&P 500 is 10 freaking companies. Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Tesla. Really? You want to expose your portfolio to such a concentrated degree that 29% of your assets are in 10 companies? I don't like that. I like VT. I like international stocks. So if a lot of people are buying the US index because the S&P 500 went up over time, you're in for a rude awakening. Now let's look at the performance of the S&P 500 from 2009 to now. So at the bottom of the Great Recession, after the housing bubble burst, the S&P 500 was trading at $770 per share, or $770. And you look over a period of maybe 13 years, the S&P 500 has gone up 406%. That is a massive increase. We have been in one of the longest bull markets, probably in recorded history. I mean, I'm not a historian of the stock market, but that seems pretty insane to me that stocks can just rocket up that fast, that freaking quickly. Now, at some point, do you think the US stock market is going to keep growing at this astounding rate going forever into the future when our economy is growing at 1.72%? I don't think so. And if you go back and look at our GDP growth, 2016, we grew at 1.6, 2017, 2.26, 2.9, 2.29. You compare GDP growth to the valuation of the S&P 500, it's freaking madness, okay? Something's got to give. Now, just to give you some more doom and gloom, government debt. Now, government debt is a massive drag on the economy because the more debt you have, the more the government has to raise taxes, take in that tax money, and freaking pay off the interest. And on top of that, we have a massive amount of debt. Our debt to GDP ratio looks like it's 137%. That's massive. We're becoming Japan slowly but surely. So you have this massive debt load. We have to continue to borrow to finance our government and all our programs that we have. And we have to pay higher interest rates now because freaking interest rates are going up. So that tax drag, which they're going to have to raise taxes, they're going to have to, is going to be a huge drag on the growth of our economy. I don't know. Massive bull market over the last 12, 13 years. Extraordinary returns. 60% of the world's market cap and only 25% of the GDP. Massive freaking debt. And let's go on and look a little bit more. Oh, demographics. Now, apparently, we have an aging population. That's right. People aren't crapping out babies like me. I'm just crapping out kids left and right. I'm trying to fix this problem for you people. If you look here, projections of older adult population, which is the less productive part of the population. At some point you get old and you can't work as much. From 2020 to 2060. So it is projected, and it's pretty easy to calculate this, that by 2060, 23% of the US population is going to be over 65 years old. We have an aging population. People aren't having as many kids. Now, do you think our society is going to become more productive as we have a much, much larger percentage of our population being old? Probably not. Okay. And this is a problem around the world. Look at Japan. Japan is in some ways similar to the United States. They had a massive bull run in their stock market. They printed money. They were killing it. Their real estate market was killing it. Japan, what's the future? Just buy Japanese stocks, bro. And eventually what happened is Japan had a massive aging population, and their stock market and real estate market was in a massive bubble. And they had that stock market has had negative returns over the past, 20 or 30 years. It was a disaster. And they have a very old population too. They don't have many kids. Okay. As a matter of fact, you look at our birth rates. Look at that. So you see these numbers here. This is called the total fertility rate. I'm not a demographer expert, but I know that if you don't have on average 2.1 kids per woman, your population's not going to grow. And the reason they say 2.1 is obviously some children die, sadly. And if you want your population to grow, you have to have 2 parents and slightly more children. Hope that makes sense. So if you look at this, it looks like our total fertility rate is well below 2.1, 1.8, 1.7. Our population is going to be shrinking. We're going to have immigration, obviously. So, I mean, our population will grow, but the growth rate of the domestic population, naturalized immigrants, is going to be lower and lower and lower. So you look at all these factors, and I just don't get why you people think that, the next 10 years is we're just in a temporary bear market and everything's going to work out fine. I don't freaking see it. I would not be surprised if we had 10 years of negative or flat stock market returns. I would not be surprised. And a lot of these clowns that are just praying that, the bull market comes back, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. Now, I could be entirely wrong, but at some point, something's got to give. High debt, massive bull run already in the U.S. stock market. We're a massive part of the world's market capitalization when it comes to stock. Aging population, low birth rates. I don't know. So at the end of the day, what's the whole point of this video? Well, it's not to make you depressed. It's to not have you set your expectations very high for the next 10 years. What you need to do for the next 10 years is continue to dollar cost average into total world index funds, total world, not just the United States, and don't check your freaking portfolio. Because if we go through a rough 10 years, right, which is entirely possible, I would not be surprised, and you have negative returns, but you're constantly checking your portfolio or you're watching fear mongers like, Meet Kevin or Jeremy Financial Education, you're going to potentially be incentivized at some point or pushed to sell your stocks. Because even if Jeremy says, he never says to sell stocks, but you see all his freaking clickbait thumbnails and you see all the doom and gloom throughout YouTube, you might be tempted to sell. But if you consistently accumulate total world indices in your tax advantage accounts over the next 10 years, I think at some point the market will have another bull cycle again, which will be great. But I would not get your expectations up and think, before you know it, we're going to have a bull market. We're going to have 15% returns every year, even though our GDP is growing at 2%. No, you need to expect a lot lower returns and you need to be freaking patient. So that's the whole point of my channel. I think my channel is going to not die anytime soon. As a matter of fact, it'll never freaking die. You know why? Because the Boglehead philosophy works in every market. Oh, the market's up, dollar cost average. Oh, the market's down, dollar cost average. Oh, stay the course. Don't change your freaking plan. So I hope I didn't make y'all depressed, but you freaking clowns that are commenting on my channel. Yeah, once the bull market comes back and all the trash stocks go up, you're going to look stupid. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? If there's another bull, let's say I'm wrong and there's another bull market in the next, year or two, I'm still not going to buy trash stocks, and I'm still going to make fun of trash stocks. Even if they go up massively, it doesn't mean you bought a good company. It means you got freaking lucky, okay? Hope dark times come. I'd love to buy Apple at a huge discount. Yeah, dark times, if you're a long-term investor, dark times are great. I mean, I'm actually excited. Like, I want the market to get wrecked. I want a decade of just annihilation. Stocks drop 50%. They stay low. Or they go more, down 60, 70%. Everybody's freaking out. The world's ending. And I'll just keep buying VT. And 30 years from now, 40 years from now, 50 years from now, when I actually start selling these, or if I even sell it at all, I'm going to be a rich freaking man. Okay? And all you clowns on YouTube are going to be gone. Yet you are bullish on China. China is on the verge of collapse. Yeah, that's right. Chinese stocks went down. There's nothing going on in China. Billions of people and faster growing economy. Bro, you're saying the U.S. cheeks are going to be collapsed. I think so, personally. I mean, I don't want it to happen, but I think we have dark times ahead of us. I'm not trying to be a fear monger. I'm just saying, you need to have, the whole point is you need to have patience. You don't need to worry about, yearly returns over the next decade. You just need to freaking continue to accumulate. It's a total world index funds. And I think in the long run, if you have a long enough time horizon, you're going to make a lot of money. But if there's a prolonged bear market, all these channels are going to go away and all these clowns are going to give up hope on the stock market. And I'm just going to keep telling people, just buy index funds, bro. You're going to be fine. In 10 years from now, when I'm 42 years old, I'm old, I'm 42. I'll look like a genius, maybe. Because biggest companies are now more global than ever. Yeah, but we still only produce 25% of the world's GDP, okay? And look how fast we're growing. You really think the U.S. stock market's going to keep growing at 10%? forever into the future when our GDP is growing at 1.7% and we have an aging population? Come on. Jesus Christ. Yeah, China's growing. Of course they are. But I mean, you never know what's going to happen. That's why you buy the globe. You don't worry about it. Okay, any more interesting comments? Everybody's hating on China. China stocks went down. And yeah, so you should sell them, but US stocks went up, so you should buy them. I'm a genius. You think it's that easy? You think it's that easy to build a fortune? Oh, just buy stuff that went up. I don't think GDP is fair for market. The top companies make a lot of money overseas. Oh, okay, but I mean, even if there's some discrepancy, the difference is so massive, it does not make sense to me. 60% of the world's market cap, 25% of the GDP, and shrinking. I mean, I'm sure there's reasons for that discrepancy, but to have that large of a difference, and if you project out returns in the future, well, if the US stock market continues to grow at a faster rate than international stocks, well, US stocks will be 70% of the world's market cap, 75%, 80%. At what point does it make sense at some point in the future if we have 80% of the world's market cap in stocks and we're 14% of the world's GDP? I mean, it's just madness, okay? Something's got to give. Yeah, China's going down. That's right. Research shows that company that had a debt to GDP higher than 100 eventually defaulted. Well, I mean, countries can keep the game going for a long time. Look at Japan. I think their debt to GDP is like over 200%. But Japan they have a lot of issues. They have an aging population like we do, but they're actually a lot worse. Like they have much lower birth rates than the United States. And I think the reason we have higher birth rates in the US is because we have a lot of immigration. But eventually, the immigrants come in, they become Americanized, and their birth rates drop too. So we're going to have to keep bringing in immigrants to keep our population growing. But the natural population growth, it ain't that great. Okay. Let's see. Bullish on honest diaper. I wouldn't be bullish on diapers. And freaking nobody's having kids anymore except for me. I'm the only person with kids in this freaking place. Japan stock market. Yeah, go read about the Japanese stock market boom. They crushed it. They were the future, bro. Just buy Japanese stocks, man. They're going to take over the world. Sounds just like the United States to me. Okay. Oh, God, there's so many freaking comments. Oh, Lord. Strongman CCP. Oh, you people. I own a global index. I don't just invest in China. You guys are such freaking clowns. I have 5% of my portfolio in a Chinese stock, and apparently I'm a communist that hates America. Yeah, like more than 50% of my portfolio's in U.S. stocks. Freaking clowns. Why buy VT when stocks go down because of the Fed? Just save and buy. No, you dollar cost average. You keep buying the stocks. You keep buying the world over time. If the stock market doesn't go up for 10 years, it goes down for 10 years. Well, guess what? You're just snapping up the world at cheaper and cheaper valuations. And at some point in the future, I think the world will recover from our malaise and we'll be doing fine. I need VT price to go up like very soon. I am checking the price every hour. Check price lower. Come on, VT. Come on, man. If you want a 10x pop stock, VT ain't it. I'm sorry. Why are you wearing a shirt? That's a good question. Why am I wearing a shirt? Let's see. All right, I'm about to close this out. What's your YouTube strategy if we bounce back after a rate hike? I mean, I'll do what I did before. I judge companies based on their fundamentals. I don't care if tattoo trucker, sweaty, putrescent, shark-covered nutsack goes up. If it's a trash company, it's a trash company. And eventually all companies return back to their fundamentals. It's as simple as that. All these stocks, it was so easy to predict what would happen. Of course, the stimmy bubble was going to pop. Of course, all these clown stocks were going to go down. But the same cycle is going to happen again. It's going to happen again. Maybe we'll have some kind of bull market. Maybe the Fed will cut rates massively and we'll print more money. And all these clown stocks could potentially go up again. But that doesn't mean my channel is going to die, because I know that if I look at a company's fundamentals and it's trash, at some point the clown market ends and these stocks get crushed. Okay. There you go. Listen to her. Everyday adventure. She knows what she's talking about. But yeah, I can't wait, man. If there's like 10 years of flat returns, everybody's going to be talking trash about stocks. And, oh, stocks, you're just going to lose money. And I'll just keep buying and buying and buying. All right. Okay, last comment. All these people hating on Strongman bought Zoom Teladoc at the top. It's true. It's true. See, I was here getting made fun of because I was saying just max your tax advantage accounts and buy VT. And all the clown stocks kept going up and up and up. Go watch my Unity videos. Unity software. I was so freaking right on that. And it is hilarious what happened to that stock. Anyway, that's it. Talk to you later. Cheers.